Recording in progress. Okay. Yeah.
Here
Fire
we
away.
are.
What'd you ask earlier?
Welcome back, dude.
Yeah, welcome back.
Uh, yeah. Someone's a year older, huh? Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. 33. How's it feel?
Oh, old. I wish I had the money to take those types of trips when I was 23 because 33 is getting a little bit too old.
33 is hard to recover. Yeah,
Yeah.
for everyone listening, we went to Nashville for Maylee's birthday. Dude's trip. Had a good time. Not a lot of sleep. A little bit of partying here and there, and we survived.
I mean, I love that
Barely.
trip actually because I put my team in charge and I was actually able to completely step away from my phone for 4 days. Um,
Which
and
is very rare.
I know I've never been able to do that before, but Brittany on my team, I call forwarded everything on my phone to her and she just kind of handled it and then gave me a recap every morning. So
That's awesome.
yeah, that was like the best step away I've ever been able to do. So that kind of gave me hope for the future that I'll be able to do that more.
Yeah, that's
So,
awesome. Yeah, another cool thing we did in Nashville, we had some friends, real estate friends out there that just finished some new construction. Did you end up seeing that place by chance?
no,
Never did, huh?
his tour thing was not there.
Yeah, it ended right before you guys landed,
That
so I
ended
went and
it.
visited. He had new construction, two new builds right next to each other. Really, really awesome floor plan, price point, all the things for Nashville. So that was kind of fun to see him and check out his new construction. I learned a lot actually. He told me they had to jump through a lot of hoops to get them things built, but
Why?
it got me excited to do something too. You say why?
Yeah.
So initially he bought the land and it was in a flood zone. So that was he had to wait. I don't know. They had to build up the foundation or something like 4 feet
Hmm.
to get it out of the flood zone. And then he went through like three different contractors and just kind of took a lot longer than anticipated, which I feel like most construction projects take longer than anticipated, but he ended up getting them done and they hope they sell.
Yeah. So he built it like
Hopefully.
he was the contractor, right? He's not just the realtor.
Well, he hired a contractor.
Yeah, but like it's his project, right? It's not.
Right. Yeah, it's his. Yeah, him and another partner.
I actually love that I'm seeing so many realtors realize that there's a lot more to real estate than just helping people buy or sell real estate.
Yeah.
You know, we usually see like the best opportunities first. Um, and we know the market better than anybody. So I think that's kind of cool when we have the ability to step in and do projects like that and you know, just do more than buying and selling. So I'm
Yeah.
bummed that I didn't get to go see him, but we should have him pop on the show sometime.
I thought about that. Just kind of talk through the process because it was a different process than just buy a piece of land and build. He went through a lot more stuff to it. So I think he would be really, really cool to have on and just talk
Yeah,
through everything that he went through and the cost of everything and
so
all
I even
that.
like deal with that here. So like you know, because I own a home building company here. And so I, you know, go out in the suburbs, buy a lot, build a house. It's really simple. It's like 30 days to get permit. You know, it's you get approved really easily. And then I'm supposed to be doing that condo project in like Midtown Omaha. And we've been going through the city a year and a half. You
Oh,
know, like we had to meet with all the neighbors first, which was super fun because they all hate the project. Um, and then you know you gotta because the city requires that. And then you know you and your attorney have to do like a pre-app meeting with the city, site plan review with the city, and nothing with the city is fast. This isn't just like I can call them on Monday and go meet with them on Tuesday. There's at least a good like month between each of these things. And then you know, and then you have to go through um, pre pre-planning board, pre-city council, final planning board, final city council, and they only meet once a month. So assuming you get all of your homework done in between there, you know, you can be on the agenda every month and progress that along. But like the soonest that you're going to get anything through the city, I would say is 6 to 7 months.
hmm.
And that's if everything goes perfectly smooth. And ours was going on a year and a half. And we're because we had to switch zoning And then they didn't like our designs the first couple of times. I finally just had to like sit down and tell them, like, why don't you guys just tell me what you want to see be built here? Because I keep coming here with ideas and you keep turning it down. And, you know, in my mind, I'm just trying to take like a vacant piece of dirt that's worth 100 grand right now. And I'm trying to put like 400,000-800,000 condos on them. So, you know, I think they would be all over that for the tax value, but obviously they have to follow certain regulations. So they're very strict about certain things. But yeah, I mean, the juice has to be worth the squeeze there because it's a lot of time into it. You know, in that period of time, I probably could have built 15 houses in West Omaha and probably made the same amount of money and had less headache.
Yeah.
It's fun to do both and kind of see the differences in both, but
Yeah.
but for sure.
Yeah, I want to start getting into that, to be honest. I know I mean, finding land right now for a decent price is almost impossible out here too. But again, like
Really?
knowing,
Like just anywhere? Or
yeah, I mean, I think it just kind of depends on the project too. And that's since I've never done it, that's probably, I mean, doing one would be a nice first step, right? Like just to learn about everything and
right.
um yeah. So I think that's kind of next on my agenda is to do some sort of development, even if it's
Well,
just
I
a home,
mean,
like a spec home or whatever.
I mean, you told me that you were gonna list new construction home. Have you ever like worked with a builder like on a continual basis from, you know, finding the lot, designing the house and building the house all the way to finish?
Never done it. Would love to
Yeah.
do that.
Well, yeah, so I'd probably start with that first before you just jump into
Yeah.
doing your
Yeah,
own.
doing it myself.
I mean, well, I mean, just like, I mean, any realtor that too, like anybody that asks me if they want to, how do I represent a builder? And I always say to them the same thing. I'm like, how many like new construction meetings have you sat through? How many new homes have you sold? I'm like, I mean, a builder can hire
I mean, I've
anybody.
sold new homes on the purchase side,
Yeah. No, but I mean, at
but
least that's a
not
start. Like some
this.
realtors want to
Yeah.
represent a home builder and they don't even like, they've never even been a part of anything new construction. And I'm like, a builder can hire anybody to put a house on the MLS. So you
Yeah.
have to like actually bring them some sort of value. And I went to school for architecture for the brief time I went to school. And
That's dope. I didn't know that.
I love design and I follow trends a lot and I talk to a lot of people about what's selling and what doesn't. So I mean, it's a lot of work to represent a home builder because, like I said, you have to add. I mean, you have to add a lot of value to their life, not just, hey, I'm gonna, you know, put your house on the MLS.
Yeah, the one that I was talking to, I'm gonna meet with them next week, but they're basically like a mom and pop builder.
Mm-hmm.
They custom homes. Like one, my guess is maybe like one a year type of deal or a couple a year. But they don't have the money to build a spec and then sell it.
Mm.
So that's going to be the challenge for me. It's just like, okay, how do we market it? I mean, I don't even know if they have like a piece of land yet that they want to like build a home on.
Right.
And I don't know if we're like selling the idea of, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. So I'll know more next week. But
Yeah, you'll have to keep us
assuming
up.
it's like the construction loan and then they get paid every stage to keep it going.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
like when I build a spec, I don't get paid till the end. Um, both in commission and in just builder profit. Some builders take their profit throughout the course of the build. A lot of banks don't like to do that because, you know, then
Well, I don't know about the profits during the whole thing, but like they can't just get the lump sum up front to build the whole thing. It's
oh
like
yeah, so they just have to get a
portions.
regular construction loan.
Yeah.
That's normal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I go to banks here and we do 80/20 loans. So like you know, they build out their whole cost sheet, they get everything sent out for bid. And then, you know, let's say that comes to 500 grand, the bank will give them 80% of that, which is 400. Yeah, 400. And then that'll typically 80% usually covers all your hard costs, and the last 20% is your profit and commission. So in theory, most builders, if they bid it out the right way, the lot, the interest, the carrying cost, the taxes, and all of the build costs will be covered by the bank. And then they just get their profit at the end. So in theory, they're not, you know, I'm out here building 7 to 10 houses at a time, and I'm not having to come out of pocket for any of them. You know,
That's dope.
it takes a little while, like bigger projects like those condo projects and stuff, banks are gonna want, money up front or out of pocket. But new construction typically sells so well here that they're just not really that worried about it. So it might take a while for someone to like get to that level, but just like where banks trust you. So
Yeah.
so
Oh, dude. Yeah, that's how many homes do you think you've built?
well, under my company, I built 8, but I've been a part of like 250 new builds over my
Jeez.
career. I mean, I wouldn't really like real estate if there wasn't like a new construction aspect of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was always like this kid who, I mean, I had like giant things of graph paper at home, and like I would draw houses, and I would play Sims when I was a kid. My characters would die.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I would just focus on building the houses, and like all I would ever do is build houses out of Legos and stuff. So I think I was like always, like destined to do. And I was always the kid who knew what he was going to do. I was going to go to school to be an architect until I went to school
That's
to be an architect, and then it was just too long of hours in school, and it was like a 6 years master's program, and then it was like 3 years of being an intern, like drawing plumbing drawings, and you make no money. And I'm like, if I'm going to spend 9 to 12 years of my life not making any money, I'll just go be a doctor rather than an architect. So it's just I decided not to do that, and then I got into real estate school. So but then when I represented a builder my 3rd year in, obviously a lot of that like knowledge came into play. So I love like helping people sit with the architect and the draftsman and help them come up with things like, oh, hey, your closet, you're going to want to make your closet bigger. You're going to want to put a closet there. Like it's, it's really actually hard as a realtor to explain your value in new construction. Because in theory, like if nothing goes wrong in the build, which something's always going to go wrong, but in theory, if nothing goes wrong, you don't really do anything, and then people don't see your value. But like knowing what to look for during like an electrical walkthrough, for example, like where you meet with the builder and the electrician and you walk through and you tell them where you want your outlets and everything, but just like using your experience as a new construction realtor um, to help them come up with better ideas. Like a friend of mine built a house here, didn't use me to build it, or didn't have me represent him with the builder, and called me a year later when he wanted to sell the house. And it was only a 3-bedroom house. He had the master up, 2 bedrooms down, and then an office on the main floor. Well, most people in Omaha, if they have a 4 or 5-bedroom house, they'll use one as an office and one as a fitness room, but they call it a 5-bedroom house. So when you search, or when you have saved searches for people, 3-bedroom houses aren't showing up anywhere. So the first time I had his house listed as a 3-bedroom, there were no showings. No one was looking at it because it's only a 3-bedroom. And I'm like, we got to put a closet in this office somewhere. Well, we couldn't. The way the stupid house was designed, there's a window, air vent, there's like everything in the way. We can't even fit just a small, tiny closet so I can call this thing a bedroom. Well, like had he worked with me during the design phase, I would have just been like, look, I know it's an office, but just throw like a little 2-foot closet in there. So in the future, you can call it a bedroom, like just little things like that, like telling
Yeah.
people in Omaha, it's not code to have outlets in your closets. And so just telling people like you're at least going to want them in the master bedroom for like ironing boards and steamers and things like that. Like I tell all the women, like, because standard is you basically get like 2 little outlets by your vanity, and shit, I use more than that. And so, like telling them, you should do like 4 to 6, like putting them behind the cabinet so you have those little drawers that roll out with all your stuff in there. Like people just aren't really going to think about that stuff when they're walking through a house. And I tell people to like go to their house at framing before your electrical walkthrough and just like pretend you're living there for the day, and like you're walking into the bedroom, like where your hands naturally go for like switch placements and stuff, because
Yeah.
sometimes builders put them in stupid spots. And like I've always now started to put like my switches on the outside of closets so that you can turn on the light and open the door before you actually have to like step into the closet and stuff. So just like little things like that that don't seem like they're worth money to people, but they're going to end up saving people money, and it saves people time. That's where like realtors add
Yeah,
their
that's
value during
awesome.
new construction. So
That's really cool. Yeah, I think one of these podcasts we'll have to go through. I'd love to like sit down for an hour and just go through the whole stages of what that looks like
Yeah,
to build a house, because I know there's a lot of stages, and that would be cool for people to hear, to see
for
how much
sure.
goes into it.
So yeah, that's really cool that G was able to do that. And he kept that really quiet. Like I didn't see anything on his page about,
He's not a big social media guy.
oh, he needs to. That's
He
bad.
needs to be. He
Yeah.
needs to be.
Cause I'm like, you just built like
Yeah.
2 houses, like, and you're not even that,
And they're 830,000 or
yeah, like you're
840.
not even that like seasoned as a realtor. And you just built 2 houses, which most realtors have never done in their life.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know you were doing anything until you just popped them up for sale.
Yeah.
So whatever, but we'll give him
Yeah.
a hard time about that in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Heck yeah. No, we'll get him on for sure. I think he'd love to talk about it.
So yeah. Um, what was your question today you asked me? I don't remember. Oh yeah.
Uh,
So like when we list things or like list and sell things.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it just kind of depends. Like, I mean, if the house sat on the market for like months, right? I'm not going to send out a just sold card by any means, but it was actually kind of funny. I walked down the hall and this guy in my office, I had sold this house, the windowless house, and I sold it in less than a week, and it was listed previously for like 60 days with someone else. And I mean, I took the listing over and, we dropped the price 100 grand, but I still sold it in a week. And he told me this funny story how he was the third agent in on a deal and he sold it in a week and he got the seller sign off on it, but he sent out a advertisement of how like 2 other people tried and failed and he took it over and he sold it. And one of the agents that had failed had called him and like yelled at him and he's like, I can't believe that you sent that out and that makes me look bad. And it's so, I mean, I guess some people notice those types of things, but so if it's like a good reason why, like if the house sold really quick or it was like a record
Yeah.
price in the neighborhood, like I'll always send stuff out then. But our marketing department makes it so easy. Like we have templates for just sold, just listed. And so, if sell a house in a neighborhood, they can like automatically send out just sold cards to everybody else in the neighborhood. Um, I feel like with any marketing, like the impact, like there has to be, I don't feel like someone's gonna like look at your postcard once and be like,
Right.
oh,
You gotta be
Curtis just sold this
consistent.
house. Cool, I'm gonna call him now. Like,
Yeah.
that all goes down to like farming and stuff like that. Which I'm not, I mean, I'm not the best at, but a
Yeah.
lot of people, I mean, a lot of people are and they make a lot of money on it. But you know, they do make those things super easy. So that's and it's, I mean, it's what is it for 52 cents to send out a postcard?
I've never done it, actually. I've never even done a postcard before.
Yeah, I mean, to
And that's
mail it, yeah,
something
it's
that I
like
need to do.
we have them designed. Our marketing department does them for like $10, and then we pay 52 cents to however many people you're going to mail it out. So, I mean, that's like a no brainer. You just add it to your marketing cost per listing and you send it out. Listings are the most important thing we can have in our market because,
Yeah. I
you
agree.
have a sign, which is why I actually kind of like that listings are actually staying on the market longer now because it actually gives you a chance to like advertise them, have open houses, potentially get sign calls on them and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like if you send out like just sold, you have an open house and you have like the neighbor open house. So then you send out a postcard inviting all the neighbors to the neighbor open house. Like they're not going to buy the house. That's just a chance for you to meet them all.
Yeah.
And then you send out just sold, like then that's 3 times that people in that neighborhood are seeing you and they're correlating your name with that. So it kind of depends on how much effort you put into it, but
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to start. I mean, we've had quite a few listings sell this year, and I need some ideas on how to capture more listings in whatever area or take advantage of the listings, especially
yeah, I
after they
mean, even
sell
if
it.
you turn that into just like a
Yeah.
mailing to your sphere, like every quarter, you can mail out, maybe it's bigger than a postcard, but it just talks about the houses you've sold so far this year or in that
Yeah.
quarter or whatever.
Yeah.
It just reiterates to people who maybe don't like watch social media or look online, as to you're active, you're selling stuff and kind of like what you're
Hmm.
doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, I think I want to finish the year really strong. So just thinking of some new ideas on just adding even just one more thing to the mix of marketing and um
Right. Well, I mean, and I've gotten a
yeah.
lot of business just from like guerrilla marketing that I do. Um, I mean, magazines, I'm still in the newspaper. I do a lot of like geo-targeting and geo-fencing things. Um, we just
That's what I really want to do.
like we just had I just had my team. I just designed postcards for our team. They can text it out, email it out, or actually put it in the mail. But a lot of people right now are not going to move because of the 7 and 8% interest rates. They're in their house
Yeah.
with a ton of equity, a 2% interest rate. Um, but a lot of people don't know the benefits to like rental houses, not only just from the monthly income it can make from the depreciation value and how it helps with your taxes. So, like, we sent out a postcard telling people like how you can utilize the equity you have as a down payment on a house, buy a rental, you can make monthly income and you can write down and pay less taxes, and it doesn't really cost you anything out of pocket. Um, so we did that. We had our agents like mail those out, text those to people, and then when we had our call night 2 weeks ago, that was like a reason for them to call and follow up with people. Um, just little ways like that
Yeah.
just to hit people. But yeah, I use the geo targeting a lot.
What company do you use for that? Do you know?
Well, so the main one here I use, it's actually our newspaper company. It's
Just
Omaha World Herald, but they
okay.
have a lot of like the geo targeting rights like throughout Omaha. That's just who I've just kind of used for a lot of that. But I mean everything from like, well, and like Undum does this and Baltimore. I always want to say he's from Boston. But he buys the geofence around all of the like country clubs there. I'm in the process of doing that here. Every listing that you get, you should buy the geofence around your listing. Like people drive by, they come to an open house, they go look at it with their agent, whatever. It puts the little cookie on their phone, and the advertisement for the house follows them around. Um, the one thing you can't get from geofencing is like you can't get the data of who that person is. Like it can tell you like, oh, 50-year-old male, like blah 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 blah, but it can't tell you like, oh, Curtis Mitchell, here's his email and his phone number. He looked at your listing,
Yeah.
right? But you can also like geo target backwards from Zillow. So we're kind of learning about this. So like you can actually somehow, and we're still figuring this out, if your listing has like 1,600 saves on Zillow, you can kind of use that information and kind of geo target those saves backwards. And the geo targeting software can figure out who those people are. And again, it can't tell you who they are, but it can figure out who they are. And then it can start to send them ads about the house as well.
Hmm.
I mean, you go into a store, you look online to like buy Jordans, whatever, and you're going to have Jordan ads follow you around everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's basically the same thing. And that's where it becomes cool. Like if you're sending out postcards, like, okay, like you listed a new house, you're going to send out postcards, then you like geo target that whole neighborhood for like 2 or 3 months while you have the listing in there. Well, these people don't really have any idea what's going on. Now they've like never heard of you, and now they see your sign, they get your postcard, and now they start to see your face everywhere online, everywhere that they're looking, right? So now they're like, wow, who's this guy? He's kind of a big deal. So there's a lot of benefits to doing that. And it's really
Yeah.
not, I mean, it costs money, but it's not as expensive as you might think that it is.
Well, I
So,
mean, if you get one deal out of it, it theoretically could pay for the whole year.
well, right. And I mean, and that's like, and I just look
Yeah.
at it from like a per listing basis. I mean, if you just build it into like the marketing budget for each
Yeah.
listing, and it's not necessarily going to help sell that listing, but it's just all about name recognition for you and
Yeah.
building a brand and everything else so that when people, they think of you like top of mind. It's the same thing how, nobody really cares what political ads say because most people besides like president and vice president, nobody even really knows who they're voting for. Like,
Mhm.
when you go in and you're like, I don't even know who these people are, but I heard this lady's name on this commercial, and then you just check the box or whatever. Like it's same thing. You just want to know, like they just need to know
Yeah.
the name. Um,
Yeah.
so it's like I said, it gets pricey if you look at it in an overall year, but if you just look at it strictly from like a per listing standpoint and break it down that way, it's actually not that expensive. So
Yeah, and I think part of my growth in business is, I mean, most of the stuff we do now is just referral based, and everyone, it's a friend of a friend or whatever. So I would love to start getting just like the quote unquote random call one day of, hey, I saw, I'm ready to list my house. I'm in this neighborhood and this and that, rather than like, hey, I got your number from so and so. And so
right.
I would love to start getting more just random buyers and sellers giving me a call and just say, hey, I saw your ad or whatever, or I got your postcard and we're actually ready to sell.
Yeah,
Or
like
like we're thinking about selling and this and that.
and it's funny because I don't think agents do a good enough job with, like, when you buy clothes online, like the first question they ask you is, how'd you hear about us? Because they want to know like where to spend their advertising dollars.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us need to be better about that. Um, like I had a $1.9 million listing last year that came from they they see my monthly or quarterly advertisement in a magazine here. Um, I mean, it cost me $400 a quarter. And I mean, so clearly that listing paid for that magazine probably for the rest of my career. Um, and it's so, and I've had people call me because they see my name in the paper and they see my name like on Zillow and everything else. So it's,
Yeah.
one thing I need to be a lot better at is Google reviews.
Oh my gosh, I'm working on that right now.
I didn't even pay attention to Google reviews.
I just got one signed or submitted like 20 minutes ago, right when we were getting on. So
Well,
that's
this new
part of
gal on
my,
my team, she was like, we need to do better about that. So now I have like the whole team working on it. And really, when you think about it, like if everybody on my team gives a review to everybody else, they already have like 16 reviews. Um, the nice thing about Google instead of Zillow is that it doesn't even have to be a review about a specific transaction, right? It can
yeah,
just be about like, like I've known Curtis for 20 years, like blah, blah. I mean, it still has to be somewhat related, but like
right.
it can be talking about like what kind of person you are. If you're good at communication, it doesn't just have to be specific to a piece of real estate.
Yeah, because they don't
So
have to put the address in or whatever, what
yeah,
was
so you can
sold.
have all kinds of people review you for different things. And that's something that, I mean, I should probably have like hundreds of Google reviews on there. So I'm working on that. I wish there was like a platform where someone could fill out like one review form and it would go to Zillow, Google, and all those places. Cause I really
Yeah.
feel bad continually asking people to give me a review on shit. But
Yeah. What do you think your top two or three? Because I was thinking Google is now number one, but Zillow and even like realtor.com, those are probably the three.
yeah, I mean, the two that I focus on are like Google and Zillow.
Yeah.
I mean, and I didn't even focus on Google until the gal on my team told me about it, but
Yeah.
just because, I'm an Apple nerd, so I don't like, I actually hate, like, I mean, I use Google to just like search things, right? So you think it would just be second nature, but I never think to like update my own Google profile. So
Yeah.
Zillow is good because, I mean, it gives you little stars. People look at your listing, it kind of validates like who you are, legitimizes that.
Yeah.
But nobody is searching for realtors on Zillow. They find you because they're searching for other things. And then if you have a big, Google profile, and people are Googling you, then obviously it just makes you look
Yeah.
more
Professional.
legit to have like 100 reviews on there, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big thing we're working on for the last 2 quarters of the year on my team is
You and me
a lot of
both. We
Google
actually have a
reviews.
Google people on my team. We have a counter like who's
Oh,
winning.
fun. That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm losing currently to someone on my
Oh,
team.
uh-oh.
So I know I got to step it up.
Um, and I mean that's easy because like every time you get a new one, you can post it on social media. So it also creates, like content. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to do like a little competition, like everybody go give me a Google review in the month of August and you'll be registered to win like $500 or something.
Yeah. There we
Then it's
go.
less,
It's a
then
good
it's
idea.
less like a pain.
Yeah. Or if
But
you do it,
and
yeah.
well, if you just think about every other company in the world that like begs you for reviews, and it's really not. I mean, it's not that abnormal to ask people to leave you
Yeah.
a review. So
I'm really bad at asking for like favors and stuff like that. Or like, I don't know what it is about it. It's just a weird thing for me to do, but I think I just got to get better at that. And
well, and I've
I'm
always
sure they
been
want
like
to.
asking for business because it sounds like cheesy,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
this is
Agreed.
different. I mean, I feel like this is
Yeah.
more, like So I actually used to do this thing and I need to do it again. I used to send out this email that had, and I forgot about the Google review, but it had the Zillow review. And it was like, if you know, really enjoyed working with me, I'd love if you'd leave like a Zillow review, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is where you like make it, you know, like put a lot of flattery in there. You make this like really, really nice and blah, blah, blah. And I said, but if there was any like complaints, whatever, just let me know that too. And then I also attached this little survey link that I had my company make, which just they were able to like give me, for me personally, like 5 stars for like communication,
Yeah.
negotiation ability, like respond, blah, blah, blah. And that would just be for me to read and to listen to their comments so I could improve. And then at the bottom
Yeah.
of that survey, it said if you had to think about 3 people that you knew that were the most likely to move, who would they be? And can you give me their info? Because it's a little bit different question to that. Because it could be
Yeah.
as simple as like, oh, my buddy Frank, like Frank just got a job in Tennessee. Well, okay, obviously Frank's gonna be moving at some point. So like it kind of makes people think a little bit more. And I
Yeah.
had a lot of success with that, and I need to get back at doing that.
Yeah.
And like
I agree.
the bear of it is like when you look at like, okay, we have like 300 prior transactions, and now you have to think about like sending 300 Google review requests. But if you
Yeah. Well,
just
I know
like,
if you do too many up front too at the same time, I think Google will like deny some of them, or
oh,
I think if you get too many at once,
because it
they
probably
think
looks
it's
fake.
spam. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like if you just like if as part of like your closing schedule or task list or whatever for like your transaction team, if you just have like an automated email typed up, which has Zillow, Google, and you can
Yeah.
tell them it's as easy as copying and pasting it into both.
Yeah.
He or she just sends that out after every closing. Um, I mean, it's kind of as easy as that. I think it's a bigger
Yeah.
task to like go back to all the previous clients, but I mean, every time you close one, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I usually wait like 2 weeks or something to send mine out. No, about a week. Because I usually send out an email that's like, hey, how's the house going so far? Do you guys love it? Blah, 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 blah. And then I throw the review links in there too. So
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, just I need a better system with all that. But once, yeah, it's just like not rebuilding, but just like reorganizing and doing things that I should have done years ago, but here we are,
yeah, no, I get it
just kind of getting back to the basics.
for sure.
But well, that's good, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to run. Well, I'm gonna have to run to a photo shoot, but this was a good one today. We
Yeah,
talked about a lot today.
love it. We did. I would love to have, go through the build process on one of these episodes. Any other type of
All right, hold on.
thing you could
I'm gonna stop our recording